Today we're going to be transforming my brand new 2024 Toyota Tacoma into my dream daily.
This is insane!
We'll track the cost of each part along the way to see if it was all worth it.
Wow.
Now let's dive in and see what it takes to turn this truck into my dream daily. Let's get started. This is my first time tearing apart a front end on a 2024 Tacoma. I've seen it done multiple times at the shop. I've torn apart a bunch of third gens. Time for me to do the first ever fourth gen. So here we have the all new 2024 Alpha X headlights with the 3 projectors. I cannot wait to see how these are gonna look. You guys can kind of see the difference right there. And the new DRL with the light sequence. I cannot wait. Let's get started. So this plastic piece should come right out. This attaches to the grill, which is attached to the core support. And that's gonna allow us to now start to slowly take everything apart. On the 4th gens, it's not like the 3rd gen where the grill just comes out and then small pieces start to come out. The whole front end is gonna come out, so you'll get to see that soon. All right, now that we've removed that plastic piece, that has now exposed these 3 connectors that we're gonna remove. 3rd one. Then on the center of the grill, there's gonna be these 2 plastic tabs that we have to remove. There's no need to remove this entire plastic piece. And then here, we're gonna pull on that, pull on this, and we can see that slowly it's all starting to come apart. Now we're gonna remove these 10mm bolts, 1, 2, and then these 2 plastic nuts. So as you can see, there's these tabs. I just have to push in, get this first one out, and then slowly work my fingers. And as you guys can see, the front end of this fender has been removed. We now have access to that screw right there that you guys can see. And that's going to allow us to loosen up the bumper further. Now we're going to deattach the fender liner from the passenger side. We got 2 10mm bolts right here. So fender liner has been removed. And now it has exposed this 10mm bolt. Now this front side of the bumper slowly coming apart. Sweet. We've gone ahead and removed all the bolts, all the screws, all the plastic tabs. There we go. Just give it a nice tug. That comes off. We already did it on the other side. One more thing, there is one connector on the driver's side right here. Just like that, my friends, you just tore apart the entire front end of this Tacoma. I have this mat, this moving mat, nice and cushiony. We're gonna leave it right there. We are gonna be switching out the fog lights, but we'll work on that later. So this is where Toyota left us an Easter egg. As you guys can see, there's a Tacoma on top of a Taco. This part's sort of easy. There's only 4 10mm bolts. And that, my friends, should, if I'm correct, allow us to have this headlight just pop out, leaving us with nothing but the wire harness, which we will unplug. Doing this on the 3rd gen is a mission. I'm gonna turn it around, make sure you're not scratching your vehicle. Cool. So just like that, fellas, out with the old, in with the new. Ideally, you want to make sure you have your plastic cover on. Since we removed it for the thumbnail, we took it off, but here you are going to be laying it on top of you. You are going to be playing around with it. Make sure you keep it covered. Make sure you protect the lens. That wrap should be the last thing that you guys remove. So here, super simple to install. Everything is plug and play. So you just find the male and female connector that go, turn it around. There we go. All of them connected, and later I'll show you guys where this one goes. Once this one kind of gets aligned, everything else just falls into place. And if you look here, check out this fitment, guys. That's an aftermarket headlight. Check out how amazing that fits. Normally, I don't like to tighten things down until I am able to confirm 100% that they work. It sucks when you put everything back together and then something didn't go right. You gotta tear everything apart again. But right now I'm betting that it's gonna work. So the same way we installed this headlight, we just did that on the other side. I've gone ahead and applied all the connectors from the front bumper. It's still flimsy, like I haven't fully connected it because I want to make sure that everything works. We're gonna go ahead and grab this provided wire harness, make sure that clicks in, and that would normally go into that connector, which now becomes this end. We make sure that it clicks, and then you're left off with a short end and a long end of the wire harness. The short end, which is closest towards the passenger side, will go to this connector of that headlight, and then do the same thing on the other side. Cool. So everything's been wired, bumper's still not in place, just place there. Let's check and see if these headlights work. And also we're gonna get to see the light sequence. Here we go. So as you guys can see, right now the DRL is white. The light looks extremely OEM, but I really want this to be amber. So I'm gonna show you how to do that now. So I should have done this from the start, but we're gonna turn our DRLs into amber. Now the new lights that you guys will most likely be receiving will come with an app feature. So you will be able to do this from the app, from the phone. You'll be able to activate the sequence on demand. These are prototypes, so right now we have to manually do them, which you kind of have to do this on the 3rd gens, and they are working on a module that will integrate with your 3rd gens, and you guys will not have to manually switch from white to amber. So essentially what we want to do is remove this box right here. Then when you pull on it, make sure you're careful, be gentle, as there is a motherboard here. What you're looking for are these 2 connectors. They're gonna be unconnected, and that is what makes the DRL white. If you want it to be amber, we're just basically going to connect these. So by connecting them, making sure that it clicks, DRL should now be amber. Here we go. So the light sequence is gonna be white still, but it should turn amber. And there it goes. So I wanna know which one you guys like better. Do you guys like the amber or do you guys like the white DRL? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm gonna go with amber. I think it looks awesome. Since I have the bumper off, I'm gonna take advantage to install the Baja Designs S2. These are SEA rated for those of you that are in much stricter states. And it's a bit of a process to get them installed. So let's get started. We are going to want to remove these 6 10mm bolts. So we got 1, 2, 3, and then 3 on this side. Oh, Mojito didn't like that. Used to play with Legos, now I play with my truck. One big Lego piece. And then in order for these vents to come off, we are going to want to remove this connector right here. Here we go. Easier said than done. Easier said than done. There we go. Had to give it a little wiggle, and according to my calculations, this should come right off. The next step, fellas, is going to be to remove all these screws that we have around here in order to remove the plastic plate that's underneath. So I've gone ahead and removed all the screws before we flip over the bumper. There are 2 connectors you're gonna wanna remove right here. I do recommend you guys use a pry tool to remove that connector, and then same thing on the other side. Once that's done, we're gonna flip this bumper around so we can work on removing the fog lights. As long as you removed all the screws, you should be able to just start prying this part off. If you see that it's really hard, you probably left the screw on there because this is super easy to just remove. You want to make sure not to break that plastic part. So each fog light will come with 2 screws that we need to remove. This one right here, because of the angle and because of how hard it is to reach that screw, make sure you take your time. I almost stripped it, and I want to make sure none of you do. So that one in there was definitely a challenge. Then by removing those 2, that has now given us access to removing this fog light. I'm gonna wiggle it out. There we go, and disconnect right there. we can now officially throw this away. So here we have the bracket that's provided by Baja Designs, and the goal is for us to get this same angle on the bracket and the light on this side. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is grab your bracket, your bolt, your washer, and the washer on the other side, and then your nut. And we're just gonna hand tighten for now. If you don't do this now, then when you assemble it onto your light, this bolt will not fit. There'll be no way. You're gonna have to disassemble everything and start over. So this is the orientation of the bracket with the light. Looking at the logo here, we got the bracket. We're gonna put our locking washer, and we're gonna grab our screw. We're gonna hand tighten first. All right, then we're gonna grab our Allen key, and we're gonna tighten it. So now we're gonna remove the nut, the washer, and we're going to install it into our bracket. Washer, nut, and again, we're just gonna tighten it somewhat so that it's nice and snug. Goal here is to have your two brackets as far down as possible with this bracket, right, with the master bracket, and as aligned as possible. I've already gone ahead and inserted that screw in there so that I can just grab it with the bracket as it's going in, right? A lot easier to install rather than trying to figure out the screw. And then I'm just gonna position it right there. We're not gonna tighten it all the way. That way we can move this around, right? We're gonna wanna move this around, move the angles around, and then we're gonna grab our plastic bumper cover and we're going to put it in there. The angle's really good. They're both aligned with each other, and I am happy with that, my friends. So now it's just time to tighten it all, get it super tight, and we're good to keep going. All right, so I've gone ahead, I've tightened everything. We're gonna put this plastic bumper piece back on. I'm gonna make sure all those tabs click in. Now we get to flip it over. Now we have the fog light harness here, and the sweet thing about this, it is plug and play. So, provided wire harness. These are insane. The quality behind these guys, it's absolutely nuts. I don't know if you guys knew, but Baja Designs is one of the few companies in this industry that it's made in America. There we go, they're a little bit tight. So the end that we're left with goes into our factory plug perfectly well. And now we just gotta do some cable management. They do provide some zip ties, so don't worry about going to grab those. All I have to do now is reinstall all these screws, reinstall the radiator shutters, and this bumper, my friends, is ready for the truck. All right, guys, moment of truth. Let's put this all back together. Once those sides go in, right here, but you want to make sure you don't scratch your headlights. Slowly but surely. Super good quality harness right there. Fog lights are looking good. Can't wait to pull out the truck and see how she looks. Alright guys, I've triple checked. All the bolts, all the nuts, all the screws are back in their place. It's time to move to the next part. Alright guys, I'm gonna show you what is probably going to be the cheapest mod in the list, and it's just simply removing your mud flaps. By doing this, it seems like the truck just gained clearance. It seems like you lifted it, and by simply removing 4 screws. Now make sure those screws do go back in place, because if they don't, then your whole fender liner can come off. All right, we remove this last one, and boom, you just gained clearance. You guys saw that? Look at that. Boom, gone. Beautiful. So easy. This is insane.
What are your thoughts on this?
Guys, this is candy right here. So I'm a huge King fan. Ever since I got myself in this industry, every time I would see this color, I would just get stoked. And just This is the first build of ours that we're actually not going budget friendly. Like, that might seem crazy, but originally with the 3rd gen, we did a, beginner level eyeball kit. I would have loved to go with King right off the bat, and I am super blessed to say that we can actually make it happen now. Super stoked on it. These are the King 2.5 coilovers with the rear shocks, and you have the availability to adjust the reservoirs. I cannot wait to get these things installed. These are beautiful. All right, guys, to help me out with the suspension install, we're actually gonna do it with a new venture that I'm starting out with my friends, and it's that right there. This is something that I'm really stoked on, and I cannot wait to bring the shop to you guys. So this is what we're doing with our buddies. We'll be able to mount tires, wheels, balance them, install suspension systems, whatever you guys need. We're gonna be able to do it in your driveway, in your garage, and that's exactly what we're gonna do today. Let's get started. Yo guys, so I realized the front links are super tiny, and I was just wondering how the King ones are gonna look with them being so tiny. Dude, look how freaking rad these things are, man. Like, the things we obsess as guys, like, look how awesome this piece is. Wow, the machining, just the royalty of suspension. King. Yeah, you saved us. Thank you. Hell yeah. Guys, I thought we were not gonna make this. FedEx saves the day. So we were super close to not finishing today. Like I told you guys, we were fully booked with this van, and thankfully we made it happen. We made it happen. FedEx came through. They pulled through, they got the wheels in, we get to mount them. Truck's gonna look awesome. Thank you. Out with the old, in with the new. The new ones come with adjustable clickers, so you can adjust for compression, whether you're going ham, off-roading, or simply street driving. That's gonna help you dial in the suspension. And then I love the new fins that the reservoir comes with that helps with cooling. Let's get these installed. Now it's time for the links. This is where you need to ask yourself as a man, do I want to have this sort of link, or do I want to go with this one? I think it's safe to say I'm gonna go with this one. Here you go, Beto. And just like that, fellas, the suspension system has been installed. For the upper control arm, we decided to go with Total Chaos. Reason being, added strength and the perfect angle for this ball joint. So, you guys notice here, this right here is the stock upper control arm. If we were to leave it with the King coilover that added 2.5 inches of a lift, the angle at which this ball joint would be working at would just be too intense. The suspension components would just not be sitting where we want them to be, and it would just be straining on that ball joint. With the Total Chaos upper control arm, we have the perfect angle that we need with this ball joint, plus that additional strength. This, my friends, is bulletproof. For the back, we don't need to add a spacer. The truck will be leveled, but I do like it to be a little bit higher in the back. So we are gonna add a 1-inch spacer in the back, and that should set it to have a little bit of rake. With the King coilovers and the shocks, the kit will level it. It'll just look like perfectly horizontal. I like that little rake, so that 1 inch is awesome. My friends, I cannot wait to see the rear shocks here. Let's get those installed. Fitting larger tires on the 4th gen Tacoma just became so much easier thanks to Toyota. So before in the 3rd gens we had to do an entire body mount chop or body mount relocation. with the 4 gens, 3 clips. We'll remove this. We're gonna go ahead, remove that, and then we might just have to trim a little tiny bit off here, a little bit up in the front, and my friends, we just cleared 35-inch tires. Just like that. For the wheels and tires, we decided to go with the BF Goodrich KM3. These are 35 by 12.5, mounted on a 17-inch Vosen HFX1. This is a 0 offset. Now the new 4th gens, they track a lot wider. Just from factory, the stock wheel is a positive 55 offset. Sounds wild, it's crazy. A 0 offset on these Tacomas gives it that ideal stance, that ideal poke. Normally with the 3rd gens, we're used to negative 25 offset, negative 35 sometimes, negative 10. But with the 4th gen, cannot wait to show you how a 0 offset is gonna look. All right, we bring the shop to you. Is almost done with this truck. Herman, how much would this have cost me if I was just a customer of yours? And how long would this job have taken?
Well, this job take us more or less 4 hours. So we did suspension, we did all kinks, we replaced the total cows, upper control arms. That's about $850.
Okay.
We would have $200 for the tires. We swap the sensors, we mount, we balance, and we have $150 for the mobile fee. How do you like it?
So total $1,200.
Yes, sir.
I'll take it, man. Let's do it. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, so Beto's done chopping it up, and honestly, I'm impressed. Barely any trimming. Like, if you guys can come here and check it out. I don't know if the camera can do it justice, but barely any trimming right there. And then in the back, also, just slightly, right? Yeah, I could barely tell. And this truck, my friends, doesn't rub. All right, guys, we're almost finished. Time for the easy stuff. We're gonna be installing the new Alpha X taillights. Super easy install. Literally 2 10mm bolts. One up there, 2 down here. And then there's 2 tabs here that you're gonna wanna see. 1, 2. So here's a little tricky because you kind of have to pull outward. And at the same time, this is where you have to give it like a nice tug. There we go. That was a cool technique. Barely any tab. I was going ham at it. So here, my advice to you is put your hand down here, grab it from here, and then just pull. Comes right out. You guys can see the 2 tabs here. So there's a kind of pinkish one and the green one up here. Those are the 2 that are kind of holding it in place. And then here, you just have 2 connectors, one at the top, and then another one which is kind of tiny. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. The other one right there. This is just a plastic fastener that's holding the wire harness in place. In case you didn't know, the new 4th gen Tacomas have this button here that when you click on it, tailgate drops. At the beginning, I didn't think too much of it, but now I've become super accustomed to it and I love it. These aftermarket taillights don't have that for now because they are prototypes. So the ones that you guys are gonna receive will have that button. Just wanted to clear that out. And then as far as installation goes, super easy. Bigger side goes on the top and then you just plug and play. There. Okay, so this one is for your tailgate button. Since these are prototypes, we don't have it. As you guys can see, that's where the button will go in. So we're just gonna leave that in there for now. I'm gonna tape it later so it doesn't get all dusty. But just to show you, you make sure these 2 things go inside the tabs. You push in, make sure they click. Now all we have to do is tighten these bolts and we're done. Now let's take a look at the light sequence on these taillights. How awesome is that? That is so cool. I love how it just it's breathing, you know? All right, let me show you the next mod. Now it's time for us to install the T-Mat bed organizer. This thing is just one big Lego piece. We're literally gonna grab a bunch of these. All we gotta do is connect them all together. Like so. And then we're gonna repeat that same process all the way until we finally fill in the space of this truck bed. Let's do it. so I'm used to having a deck system back here with my Overland Tacoma. And since this is the daily, I want to keep it nice and simple. I want to have the bed of the truck accessible so I can use it for truck stuff. So one of the problems that a lot of people have is, let's say I have this back here, it'll go all over the place. So with these inserts, you can now, say, put them in here. Right? So that goes there, boom. Let's say for some reason, well, there's gonna be a little bit of room to play. Well, then maybe what I'll do is I'll tumble it right there, boom, and then with this adapter right here, set that up like that, and this thing, my friends, it's going nowhere. And for long things like this, we would use these mounts. That goes in like right there. I would put that right here, and then this one I would probably set it right there, right? It's got a little play in it, but hey, this thing ain't gonna be swinging and flying everywhere, right? One thing I'm looking forward to is taking the propane tank. God, it's annoying to take the propane tank and get that refilled and figure out where it goes, and that is the one thing that's always swinging in the back. This is gonna hold it all in place. They also have this wheel crib, would work awesome for your lawnmower or anything that has wheels. There we go. And then I already have a stopper in the back, but check this out, and this is where it reminds me of the deck system. Let's say you just want to get it closer to you. Well, there you go. It's right here. You grab what you need, and then put it all back. Oh yeah. For the last thing on this build list, we're going to be installing the TacomaBeast bed decal. This is an original classic of ours, and this is new, the windshield decal. So let's get to it. Since this is a perfect line, I will be aligning that with the top of the bed, and I'll give it about a few centimeters so I can have a little bit of extra so I can cut off, right? Align myself with that. The T, I usually like to keep it about 1/2 inch away from this tip here, and that should perfectly center it there. It's gonna look awesome. Let's get to work. Last thing on our list, we gotta make sure to be as precise as possible. All right guys, before I show you the truck, I want you to get ready. We're only getting started. This is just the beginning for this truck. Instead of building the truck all in one go, I really wanted to enjoy the process. I wanted to see it go from daily to the beast that I know we can build. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss what's next. Now let's see how the truck looks.
This is your dream daily?
Oh, this is definitely my dream daily. I'm gonna rock the shit out of this thing. I just wanna drive it. One of the really cool things about this truck and this build is most of the products we installed, Total Chaos, King, Baja Designs, they're all made in the USA. That is a huge achievement for us.
It's your daily, dude.
That's my new daily, baby. Let's go.